Welcome to History in a Hurry. I'm Professor Malcolm Mazer, and in this episode we will cover the Battle of Kursk during World War II. The Battle of Kursk, fought between July 5th and August 23, 1943, was a pivotal confrontation between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union during World War II. It remains one of the largest tank battles in history and marked a decisive turning point on the Eastern Front. Following their devastating defeat at Stalingrad in early 1943, the Germans sought to regain the initiative with a massive offensive targeting the Kursk salient, a 200-mile-long and 100-mile-wide bulge in the Soviet lines. Adolf Hitler aimed to encircle and destroy Soviet forces in the salient, cripple their ability to mount future offensives, and stabilize the front. The operation, code-named Operation Citadel, was conceived as the centerpiece of Germany's renewed effort to reclaim dominance on the Eastern Front. The Soviets, under the leadership of Joseph Stalin and their military commanders Georgy Zhukov and Alexander Vasilevsky, anticipated the German attack due to excellent intelligence gathering, including information from British ultra-decrypts. Recognizing the strategic importance of Kursk, the Soviets transformed the salient into one of the most heavily fortified regions of the war. They constructed multiple defensive lines with over 3,000 miles of trenches, thousands of anti-tank obstacles, and dense minefields. The Red Army also amassed significant reserves of men and equipment, including nearly 1.3 million soldiers, 3,600 tanks, and 20,000 pieces of artillery. This massive preparation allowed the Soviets to counter the German assault effectively. On July 5th, the Germans launched their offensive, deploying nearly 900,000 troops, 2,700 tanks, and 2,000 aircraft. Their forces were divided into two main attack groups: the Northern Thrust, led by Field Marshal Walter Model's Ninth Army, and the Southern Pincer, commanded by Field Marshal Erich von Manstein's 4th Panzer Army. However, the Germans faced fierce resistance from the outset. In the north, Model's forces encountered heavily fortified Soviet defenses, stalling their advance. Meanwhile, in the south, Manstein initially made more progress but also faced determined Soviet counterattacks that slowed the offensive. One of the most critical engagements of the battle occurred at Prokhorovka on July 12th, where the German and Soviet forces clashed in one of the largest tank battles in history. Over 800 tanks fought in a chaotic and brutal confrontation. Although the Germans inflicted significant losses on the Soviets, their advance was halted. Soviet tactics, including close-range tank combat and the use of anti-tank weapons, neutralized the technological superiority of Germany's Tiger and Panther tanks. The Luftwaffe also struggled to maintain air superiority due to the growing strength of the Soviet Air Force. As the Germans failed to achieve a breakthrough, the Soviets launched massive counteroffensives in mid-July, code-named Operation Kutuzov in the north and Operation Polkovodets-Rumyantsev in the south. These operations aimed to drive the Germans out of the salient and recapture key cities such as Orel, Belgorod, and Kharkov. By early August, the Germans were in full retreat, abandoning their offensive objectives and scrambling to stabilize their lines. The Battle of Kursk marked the last major German offensive on the Eastern Front. Their failure to break through Soviet defenses and encircle the Red Army not only resulted in heavy losses, nearly 200,000 men and over 700 tanks, but also shattered their ability to regain the strategic initiative. Conversely, the Soviets emerged from the battle with growing confidence, cementing their dominance on the Eastern Front. They inflicted severe casualties on the Germans and began a relentless series of offensives that would ultimately drive the Wehrmacht back to Berlin. The battle also highlighted the critical role of industrial capacity and logistics in modern warfare. While Germany struggled to replace its mounting losses of men and equipment, the Soviet Union's vast industrial base, supported by Allied aid through the Lend-Lease program, ensured a steady supply of tanks, aircraft, and other resources. Additionally, the Soviet strategy of attritional warfare gradually eroded Germany's ability to sustain its military campaigns. Kursk's significance extended beyond its immediate military outcomes. It demonstrated the effectiveness of Soviet military planning and operational execution, showcasing the Red Army's growing ability to coordinate complex operations across multiple fronts. It also marked a shift in momentum as the Soviet Union began to transition from defensive to offensive operations on a grand scale. In the broader context of World War II, the Battle of Kursk was a turning point that solidified the inevitability of Germany's defeat on the Eastern Front. The Soviets' victory ensured that the Red Army would maintain the offensive for the remainder of the war, driving the Germans westward and liberating occupied territories. For the Allies, the victory at Kursk also had strategic implications, as it helped ensure that the bulk of German resources remained tied up on the Eastern Front, easing pressure on the Western Allies as they prepared for the invasion of Italy and later D-Day. In conclusion, the Battle of Kursk was a monumental clash that marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany on the Eastern Front. Its outcome not only reflected the resilience and resourcefulness of the Soviet Union, but also underscored the critical importance of preparation, strategy, and industrial capacity in modern warfare. As one of the most significant battles of World War II, Kursk remains a testament to the ferocity and scale of the conflict on the Eastern Front. Thanks for racing through history with us on History in a Hurry. If you enjoyed today's quick dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a fast-paced trip through time. Please reply in the comments with ideas for our next history lesson. See you in the next one.